it was loves solitude.
I do not.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, I like.
Do
I like
you not
solitude.
love solitude? Wait, hold on. Time out. Jason, did you just say you do not love solitude?
I've told you this because the moon is nothing without the sun. The mirror is nothing without a reflection. I cannot be alone for any length of time. It is.
Oh,
I've
okay,
had
Jason,
many
time out. Wait,
moments.
hold on. Everybody stop. How do you know who you are when you're not alone? True, genuine question.
Because I don't follow what 99% of you are following, and I feel I'm often defined by the other more so than any other as
I
being a
mean, you need to
reflector.
be defined by the other, but do you find any, genuine question, do you find any, I don't know, wisdom in being alone, or does it just feel like, okay, here's why I'm asking. I'm asking if this is conditioning or if this is like part of who you are as a reflector. Like, are you conditioned to just be around other people all of the time because you think that you need to know who you are when you're with someone else? Or, God, this is real like calling out. I'm just curious.
I can handle momentary moments to reset and reground, right? But
Yeah.
over the past year, I've had 3 weeks of solitude where no one else was around. And my mental health took such a dive
Got
that
it.
I had to find ways to have people. I even took on a roommate just because I cannot live alone.
It's too much. It's too much alone time. It's
Yeah.
not enough time with, because you need the other in order to light up your centers, in order, because conditioning for a reflector is not what conditioning is for other people. You
Right.
literally need to sample it. So
Yeah. So if no
that
one's
makes a
around,
lot
what
of
are you
sense.
sampling? You're sampling nothing. You're sampling residual energy. You're sampling nature. You're sampling yourself. Now, can it get really real? Maybe. But is that what reflectors are on the planet to do? To live out in the forest all on
No.
their own? Of course not. So,
Okay.
Jason, can I ask you a question concerning
That was
this?
great.
So I'm very open and often feel like maybe like a reflector, kind of like a reflector. And when I'm alone, I often feel like I don't have an identity. Is that how you feel when you're alone?
I don't know. I don't think a lot about identity because it's so fluid. Like it's so hard to explain how it feels different every single day, every different place. Like my closest friends, it's been really hard to explain to them how this works. It's been over time that they see a pattern of consistency. But I guess I say my identity is being identified by the environment that I'm around, and I'm okay with that.
Where Tom, I feel like your identity is in the
That's
mental plane.
that's always
'cause you're a
there.
mental
That's always
projector.
there.
Yeah.
Everything else is fluctuating, but I'm always in my head like 100%. Like that part of my identity is always present.
It's hard to
It's
explain to people
fascinating.
because we're conditioned in
Fascinating.
this world to have an identity. So people are like, "Who are you?" Answer that question. And I'm like, "I am whatever I need to be in the moment and among the people I'm with." And that's unacceptable in society. Know yourself. You know, I got this book, Single by Purpose, that says discover who you are. Do you think like hearing that causes me so much anxiety? Discover who I am? What? What are you even talking about? I'm not going to figure that out. And I don't want
That
to
is the
figure it
worst.
out.
That is the worst question for a mental projector to ask. Like, who am I? Like to
Yeah.
look at myself and say, who am I? Like,
Gosh.
nope, that'll drive me crazy and in circles.
Anyone
yeah.
with an undefined G center, because I have an undefined G center, and
Oh,
even
you
that
do?
question for
Oh.
me, like I have 7 centers defined, but that is undefined, and so there's still that like, ooh, I don't know who I am. But I have gate 40.2 as my unconscious sun, so I love alone time. I could stay home in quarantine for literally years and not even notice.
I'm left angle cross of distraction. I need an audience to entertain. I crave an audience.
We're here for you.
I know.
That was great.
Entertain us.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for all of that. That was so juicy. Next one up, we have wise observers. Well, obviously, deep conversation, and then we
Yep.
went back to dislikes delegating, except for you. That I don't have your name because your name is not up, but I remember
Danielle,
that you
right?
have that one. Yeah,
Danielle.
Danielle with the 31. Now I know you have the
He's an
31.
influencer.
Yeah. Then next up we have drama avoider.
Oh yeah, open emotional system. Yeah, get me away from all of the drama.
I don't know
So
if I would say I avoid drama. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't try to create it, but I try to mediate. And I do have the middleman as like part of my storylines. in my notes.
So in my Sun and Earth, I have the 15, the 6, and the 36. So like I can't avoid it. Like I try to avoid it, but it just comes.
But do you try to mediate it? Because what she just
Yes.
said was so true. It's not about avoiding drama. It's about mediating.
Yes.
It's about being the mediator of the drama. Like that would be
Absolutely.
a better.
That's a
Bingo.
better
Like
term.
it's inevitable, and then I mediate the drama. And
Like turning drama into dharma.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Ah,
From the Gene
I'm
Keys, I can't take credit for that.
Eden. Yeah.
I'm bored without it, so I mean, it's just a certain level of drama is okay.
Yeah, I
If
think
it's not-
I
if it's
watch
not there,
like
create it.
right.
Sampling something spicy.
I do like to
Introduce
watch
a little
like certain
anarchy.
shows that have it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. But wait, do you have an open head?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know what's going on there. Yeah, I think it's because I'm still in like the on the roof phase, so I'm still like observing, and
Yeah.
so I like to watch like certain shows to see like how people are react or like how I would react in that situation. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's still part of my gathering information in the phase that I'm in.
But I feel like it's such a open head, open ajna thing too.
Yeah,
because
yeah, I have that
it's
one.
also a way to turn off your freaking brain.
Sure.
Like I'm just gonna put on a mindless reality TV
Yeah.
show and just let myself like witness. Like I'm gonna sit an arm's length away from all that drama and just watch
Yeah.
it. It's such a 6'2" open head thing.
Fantastic. Next up, we have trial and error learner.
Mm-hmm.
Still in the third line phase, so lots of that over here.
How old are you, Eden? How old are wait, hold on. How old is everybody?
Ah,
I'm 37.
27.
30,
35.
I'm 48.
35. 48. You look like you're freaking 30. I'm 37.
That's why I'm
Okay,
trying to
so
grow a beard, man. I'm
Eden-
trying to look older.
Your little baby face. Eden is our sweet little baby. Okay. So we're basically all on the roof except for Eden.
I have a
Can
year
you
left.
even imagine
That
what this
tracks.
would be like if you knew the information when you were in your first line phase? Like, could you even imagine? Oh my God.
Yeah, I found out right when I was, climbing up on the roof or getting into that phase. And I don't know about you guys, but I found that if you look at your cross as a 6'2", like whatever your cross is. So Eden, I don't know, you can probably maybe look back on this in a couple of years and see how whatever you're going to go through in the next couple of years really relates to your cross. At least that's what I know for myself.
It relates to your Saturn. What you have in Saturn is what
yeah.
freaking punishes you when you're in your. Wait, Eden, what's your incarnation cross?
Left ankle cross of duality. So 34, 20, 40, 37.
Cool. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Like the next one is perfect. Sought for advice.
Not enough.
Well, I'm not on the. It's not on my bingo board, so I didn't know if I could speak to it.
Oh yeah, speak to anything. Like this was just chatty time. The bingo is a red herring. It's just a ruse to get you all in here to get you to talk about things. But feel free to share your stories and stuff. Like that's the whole point of it more than anything.
Yes, people do reach out to me a lot, almost too much.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends and family that tend to come to me first with things. And yeah, I kind of like being in that role though, being able to be somebody that they can confide in and seek some sort of objective information.
It's hard because when I go full reflector on somebody, I always have to ask permission before I weigh in because some of the insights that come are pretty intense and they're not ready for them, I've learned. And so, you really have to say, well, do you really want to hear what I have to say? And then I've been brutally honest with people and, they don't want to hear that and they get a little upset, but then they text me later and say, okay, that was the truth I needed to hear. And thanks for sharing it. So it's a bit much.
Which is why you have an aura of Teflon, sir. Yeah. Arlene, I get paid for my advice.
Right.
So just make a freaking job out of it, you guys. It's great.
I'm trying, actually. I didn't mention that, but that's the launch phase. I actually have a partner. She's a projector, and we are going to start working with people together as a reflector projector team. So
Yeah.
That perfectly segues into the next one, which is Seek's perfect partner. Continue.
I'm not going to speak to that.
Okay.
I don't know how public this is.
No, I was just trying to be you. You don't got to be specific about your
No,
relationship.
she's a great business partner and friend. Absolutely a better fit. And my ex is a wonderful human being that we enjoyed 24 years together, and then realized we needed to go in different paths. Wonderful woman, does fantastic things, great parent, but we had realized our journey had gone in different directions. But I would say I had that mentality. Oh, I have to find the perfect partner, the perfect match, the perfect fit for me, right? And maybe I am still looking for that.
Isn't that part of it too?
Well, I'm not still looking for that. Sorry, I'm wanting that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know how public. Okay, whatever.
Don't stress about it. Don't over.
No.
You're live. Everyone can hear you.
I know the whole world just yes.
But isn't that part of it with the 3-phase life cycle that it's more common for the 6 lines to find their like soulmate or whatever after like coming off the roof after Chiron after age 50?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
but it's hard when you find what you think the love of your life is when you're in your first phase. So whenever somebody comes to me for work and they're a 6 line, especially personality profile, and they are still single, I'm like, no, this is a great thing. I'm a left ankle cross of spirit. So I'm a 59, 55, 9, 16. So I have a fucking 59.6, you guys. And I'm in the process of a divorce. Why? Because I've been with my husband for 15 years. You want to get personal? Let's get personal. I've been with my husband for 15 years, and I met him when I was 21 years old. And as I'm 37 now, completely shifted into my 6 line phase, waking up into being a manifester. I am not the person I was when that relationship began. And my 6th line, especially in a 59, you guys, wants more than anything that ideal lifelong partnership. And if I had human design in my younger age, I would have realized that you wait until after the age of 30. And if anybody is out there listening, just wait, because you're going to change. You're going to change around 32, 33, and the person that you're with might not be the person that you're supposed to be with for the rest of your life.
Well, check this. My ex is a 6'2" projector, right?
Oh yeah,
I'm a 6'2" reflector. She gets married at 19. I'm 21, right?
You're also Mormon.
This is true. And so we got married very young. We journeyed together, and then we were either going to be 6s together to influence the world as role models, or we were going to split and each go in our own little paths. She doesn't quite subscribe to human design as I do. I'm always telling her pieces about herself, and I'm like, "You're an awesome projector. You can do this." She's like, "What does that even mean? Why are you calling me this?" But I see it, right? And I also see why the marriage had to eventually end, because we both had to go be our 6s in our own little worlds.
Yeah. Eden, are you in a relationship?
I've been married for 8 years.
So
I got married at 19. I don't like this conversation.
Yeah. Like, how is your sacral responding to?
My initial gut response is probably 34 force of like, no, I can force that to not happen. Like, I have human design. We'll see.
Totally.
But yeah, I'm also curious to see how having human design before that rooftop transition happens, like how that is going to impact it as well, because I've been using human design in the relationship since pretty much the beginning of our marriage. Like, we were together for a little while before that. But yeah, like he's not interested in it. He has a defined head and ajna, and he's not open to it, not interested, but he like is accepting of it, and he'll make little jokes. Like, he knows he's cold thirst. Except he called it dark thirst. He said, "I'm dark thirst," or whatever. And like, he just used human design in a sentence, and I was so excited about that. It made my day, even though he got it wrong. I think we should petition for it to be called dark thirst forever, because that sounds so much cooler. Yeah, he knows a couple of things and he'll throw it back at me every once in a while. But yeah, he hasn't really had an interest in it, but it's still been so useful in our relationship dynamic. So yeah, I'm really curious to see what happens. And of course, we have in our connection chart, we have everything defined except for the G center. So that's going to be really interesting because my Saturn return is also in gate 25. So that should be really interesting. Yeah. I have no idea what's going to happen. I can't predict the future, but I'm
Are
along for the ride.
you are
Our
you
brains always go
afraid?
romantic partner too. And let's be clear, I left a very nice job in November of 2021 to run my own business, a web design business. And I really struggled, right? So I started thinking I need a good business partner. And I sort of like vetted a lot of people before I met the person I'm working with. And it was a lot of the good chemistry, the good communication that I was like, okay, this is going to work. And the fact that I even had that in my head where I'm like, I need the perfect business partner. I mean, that speaks to something too. So I think partner in every shape of the form, you know, for your like I'm looking for perfect friendships, you know, it's just, it's a weird mentality and a weird approach, I think, to
Yeah.
aim for that perfection and think it's out there. It's very idealistic.
Yeah. Can I, and I'm sorry, guys, you just have to tell me if I'm hogging things because I'm a manifester and I will.
You're initiating. We love it.
Can I ask, Eden, can I ask you some
Yeah.
questions?
Of course.
Are you afraid that you might change to the point where you're uncompatible with your partner?
Yeah, like with the undefined G center, that has been, it's definitely been a conversation. And when I quit my nursing job pretty suddenly, when I just, it was like an intuitive download. It was like, it has to happen tomorrow. I was thinking maybe in 6 months. I was like, oh God, it has to be tomorrow. Like that was an interesting time for us to navigate together. And there was this like, I have to quit this job and go all in on this human design business. It's something I have to do for me. So I kind of had to like confront that, but I'm also fear motivation. And so it's interesting to have that there. It's like having that awareness of what am I afraid of, but also how can I prepare for it, even if it does happen? How can I know that
Yeah.
I will be safe there? And if it doesn't happen, I know that like I was prepared for it anyways. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, fear motivation is easy. Well, I'm not going to say it's easy, but you're either a communalist or you're a separatist. So if you do ever get to that point where you shift into the separatist and you feel like it isn't working, you know what? Okay. Okay, Moni, this is what 6-2s do. We need to be called out. But how many of you resonate with the feeling of calling out other people? Is it just me? Or do you guys feel like you? Because, like, I feel like calling every freaking one of you out. Do you guys feel the same way?
Well, I was just going to ask Tom and Danielle what they thought in response to this question. So, I mean,
Call them out.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
But I'm always also very mindful of projectors. I have a lot of projectors in my life, more than I can even count. It seems to be the energy that I'm surrounded around. And I see how they get missed. I mean, I've been part of these conversations before where the projector had the most brilliant thing to say and was never asked. So yeah, for sure, Tom. Like, what's your thoughts on this perfect partner idea?
It's definitely there. It's definitely there, very prominent. And it's funny that you're mentioning it because I'm noticing the energies, and I am noticing Teresa as a manifestor initially more, and I am just like sitting here like I have things to say, but I've done a lot of meetings like this, so I've actually learned to just kind of like sit and enjoy myself and be a fly on the wall and enjoy how it goes. But yeah, that theme is really prominent. It's really prominent for me, and I agree with what you said, Jason, that it's in like everything. It's not just in the relationship. It's like perfect job, perfect business, perfect people. Like it's this look to find like the perfect people. And you can like formulate that into the penta, which like as a projector, like you're waiting for the perfect penta, you know, the perfect combination of people in your life to make it all flow.
Danielle, do you share that same opinion, or what's your thoughts on this?
Oh yeah. I have the cross of wishes. So my sun code is the 50.6, and I'm also a split definition. And yeah, so I also feel like I'm always wanting to call people out too, or like see things that like, this isn't quite right. Like, why isn't it, you know? Yeah, definitely. And it's not just romantic partners. I was with someone in my first phase, and we both used human design, and we would communicate really well with it and everything. And yeah, when I got up on the roof, it was like my eyes were open, and I was like, he's a great person. We still are, you know, all love and everything. But I was like, yeah, this isn't, I'm like in a whole new different phase of my life that I didn't even know was possible. And I have this theory too that people, I don't know, because I've done a lot of readings, but I have this theory that almost like if you don't have kids in your first phase as a 6'2", that like, because when you go on the roof, it's like you are even seeking even more like that perfectness, that you're observing more, that you might not have kids after that. I don't know what y'all's experience with that is, but it's a theory I have. But yeah, I see that in, like you said, friends, family. And I used to be really reactive, like when I was a kid, because I'm open solar plexus. My mom has the cross of separation. She's an emotional projector. My dad has the cross of industry, and he's an emotional manifester. My brother is an emotional projector. So it's like all emotions in the house. And I'm this generator, and I'm like, there's no generator energy. And being a split, having the open G, going through my phase of learning what actual value is, and how to, you know, be that person that can bring in a different layer of responsibility and how we nurture and care for each other. Definitely, I think, affected how I seek perfectionism in other people, but also myself. Sorry, this is a really long run-on sentence here, but I have the 10.6 as my Neptune in detriment, which is really fun, especially when you have your sun code on the design side is a 31.2. It's arrogance, and then like extreme like self-consciousness and like self-hate. And it's like a really interesting thing. So I think I get mirrored back in the perfectionism that I see, that I want in other people, as like a reflection of like my own self-hate of not being able to like act perfectly as a 10.6 for my Neptune. I know that was a long thing, but yeah.
That was great.
To answer your question.
Oh, that was very interesting.
Yeah. So everybody on here except for me has an open G center. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Mine
I
is
have it
defined.
but I don't count.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. So who
I
has
don't think I'm
always
not a 6'2". I don't know if I'm like part of
Eden,
that.
Eden, do you have a defined G center?
No.
So I'm the only one that has. So I'm the only one of the
You're
6'2".
I'm defined.
You have
I'm
defined G center.
Yeah, I have the
Okay.
1034.
I misunderstood you. I thought that you had. So do you have an undefined ego?
Yes, I have the root and the spleen through the 2838. I'm purely individual too,
Yeah.
so that's like another thing.
Yeah.
Or you know, so I have the 2838 and then the 1034, and I'm split between the root and the sacral.
What are your bridging gates?
57 for sure.
Yeah, 57. But then I also have all three of the format energies coming from the sacral.
Yeah.
But none of them coming up from the root. So,
Got
or
it.
other way around.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fun.
Yeah. So it's nice to, yeah. Well, because sometimes it's like, is it a 6'2" thing, or is it an open identity center thing? You know, it's kind of like
I think it's like a
digging through the
combination of like
weeds
everything.
of what is the thing that is the thing, which
All the
I
good
think
things.
is the most fascinating conversation. Yeah.
I'm going to jump in with the next bingo, just to keep the ruse going. Feels misunderstood.
I'm not even going to respond to that one.
Yeah, because I mean, like Jason, like, okay, let's talk about the 10% of population over here, friend. I feel misunderstood because I'm a splenic manifester.
Yeah.
Not because I'm a 6'2". I don't know. Maybe it's because of both. I don't know what it's like to be anything other than me. But I mean, do you feel like it's a 6'2" thing, or do you feel like it's a reflector thing?
From the reflector forums I'm in, it definitely seems like a reflector thing. There are very few reflectors I've talked to that feel understood. I mean, consider you're in a group of 100 people and everybody starts grouping up and we're all by ourselves. Yeah, we feel like nobody gets it. And we spend a lot of time trying to help people understand. And all the good people in human design like to tell us who we are and what we do and how we operate. And it's appreciated. But as my reflector coach said, throw it all out, use it as a guidebook, but live your experience and discover it all on your own. So,
but can I play? I'm a 16.2 in my unconscious earth. Danny, I hear you laughing backstage, mister. Can I play devil's advocate with you for a second? Because reflectors always about how there's not enough information about reflectors. But when you put information about reflectors, about the information you put about reflectors, it's like a freaking catch-22. And I have directly quoted raw in projector reels or content, and I've had reflectors being like, that's not true. And I'm like, no, it actually is true. Like, it's coming from the creator of human design. And so it's one of those things where it's like, you want to support new reflectors coming into the space, but at the same time, so many reflectors are, tell me what I am. I know what I am. And so it's like this really weird rock and a hard place between supporting a reflector, but making sure that you're saying it in the right way so you don't get in trouble. Again, it's a manifestor thing. I'm always in trouble for what I say. So that was not a question. That was just an informative statement. Can you comment on that?
Well, you're not wrong. Let's begin with that. And I have definitely read even the Ra attacks, you know. Oh, Ra was a manifestor. What does he know? He brought the reflectorness to us, but does he know it? He didn't experience it. He doesn't live it. And every reflector is different. So even a reflector trying to tell reflectors what they're like is often called out. You can't win with this crowd. Let's just put it that way. They don't want to be in a box. They question everything. They literally are like, it's all
Teflon.
Yeah. So it's odd. And so when you're feeling misunderstood, you even feel misunderstood by your own reflectors. Like I've spoken to only a few reflectors in the wild, and it was a very different experience. And it was interesting because my projector friend was sitting next to me at the time, and she's like, holy smokes, you two have very similar energies that I'm picking up on, and I've never noticed that before. So it was so cool to listen to her read it, but she still saw the nuances of us, even though we were both reflectors. So I don't think you can win. I think you just keep putting the information out, though, and we will take what we want and leave what we don't want, I guess, and challenge it all.
Yeah. Well, because that's what I teach reflectors when they come to me for a reading. I teach them that they know more than I do. And at the same time, you have to educate the mind at some point, because that's what human design is. It's about educating your mind into what this stuff is so that you can actually take it into your own experiment. But for all of you reflectors out there listening, stop trying to get me in trouble. Stop yelling at me.
No, it's good though, because people do need to be out there, and there isn't a lot of information. And, I appreciate the wisdom that comes from others. I mean, how like unhumble is that to roll up on the scene and be like, well, I know everything. No.
Well, when you're a different type, you have the perspective that type doesn't. So like one of my favorite people who talks about manifestors is a projector. Because when you are a different type, you get to see all of the things about the type that type itself can't see. Like everybody wants to complain about cross-type readings or cross-type education or information. When you really understand human design, you understand a type in a way that type doesn't understand itself. And I think there's a massive amount of value in that. So
that's the whole concept of like outer authority. Is that we all have our own outer authority to share. It doesn't mean that my outer authority is right for you to take in and like do something with, or your outer authority is right for me to do something with. So I feel like we're in that like wiggling it through, where right now it's like my outer authority, no, my outer authority. And it's going to be like, y'all, everyone's is going on. And then what do we take in and allow to like have an impact on us? Next up, we have big picture think.
Is this an accurate description then, Tom, Danielle, Eden, big picture? Would you say that's how you're thinking about the world?
Yeah, I feel like I'm like 20 years ahead, and I just want to let it all play out. Like things seem really trivial, and I don't want to think about them.
Are you a 4323?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Tom.
I would say that I mean, yes and no. I would say that I think more like higher up on the fractal in some ways. But then when it comes to like future thinking for my own life, like, all right, my time blindness and my sense of like planning for things or feeling like that is even really that important for me is not really there. But when it comes to like thinking about the purpose of things, then yeah, I think in that way. But I guess I don't really know how to take the question. It could take a lot of different ways.
We also have like a question for one of our viewers. It says, do any of you ever worry about the big picture? From Powell 1414.
I don't know if I worry, but I'm consciously aware of it. If there is a singular thing happening, I'm often thinking how it impacts the entire circle. So when I was the library director, it was a 9-system library. And it seemed like whenever somebody made a single suggestion for one building, I would always think, okay, how will that ripple into all the other buildings? How does it all fit together? I think about that in the context of families. If this person signs up for this activity, how will that impact the rest of the things that are going on? So, I mean, I suppose that is a worry in some sense, right? Like I worry about how does the single piece impact the big picture of everything that's happening.
Yeah. Well,
I
it's
have
hard
the-
to take.
I agree with
Yeah.
that.
Go ahead. Whoever's going to talk, go ahead.
I have the 1858 channel. And so that is it's a collective circuitry and it's in the splenic center. So it does have both that pressure from the root center of like, I want to change things at a big system level. And also the fear and the awareness of perfectionism in general. Like gate 18 is both of my north nodes, which is really fun. So additional layer of perfectionism ingrained into this 6-2. But that can also have this fear and this worry of like, if I try and change this, is it actually going to is it going to make a bigger mess? Is sometimes something that I will worry about is like, if especially with human design, like I change some of the language, I make it more accessible, I use examples, I tell stories, and some people do not like the fact that I will use different stories or different examples or different archetypes and I don't quote raw all the time. And some people love that. And so there is this constant like integrity that I'm checking my integrity of like, okay, if I'm going to change it this way, is it still capturing the same essence? Is it still in integrity? Or is this going to cause confusion? Am I changing it to simplify? Am I changing it for a reason? Am I changing it for integrity? Or am I changing it just because it sounds interesting and it's fun and it's exciting me right now? Because sometimes that's a yes. Sometimes the sacral energy is aligned, but I'm an emotional authority overall. So sometimes I still kind of have to check that integrity and make sure that if I am creating changes to the language and if I'm teaching a new concept, that I'm teaching it in a way that it will benefit everyone and it's like in the ongoing future as well. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, Jason said something really interesting about the objectivity, because when we're looking at something that is transpersonal, I feel like those words, objective and transpersonal, can be synonymous with one another. Because what it means to be objective is to look at the bigger picture. And looking at the bigger picture requires one to look at another. And when you're looking at the other, now you're being transpersonal in all of it. And so that's the biggest thing I found from being in my left angle phase versus when I was in my right angle phase, or from other fellow right angle people, is that it really is the capacity to stop looking inside. You're not introspective. You are actually looking out towards all of the others. And that is your key. Like, what's going on with the bigger picture? What's going on with the ones outside of me? And I feel like that's what really separates the line 5 and the line 6 from the rest of the hexagram. So I really like how that tied in and connected.
I feel like that's really hard to like shut off, even though,
Totally.
It's like
I
you
feel like
can't
it's
even
impossible.
Like you can't even
Yeah.
choose not to. It's just
Yeah.
I've tried sometimes, like, okay, can I just like just think about just myself and like and all that, but it is like that interconnectedness that's already there.
Well, and what you'll see at an unconscious level is the overgiving wound. And yeah, it can be connected to an open ego, but it's this feeling of how can I serve the other? How can I support the other? How can I give the other? And what happens to self when you're transpersonal in nature? Self starts to suffer because you're constantly looking out toward the other. So now it comes with its own set of emotional wounds and all of those things just from being, I don't know, a left angle profile. I could go into that forever. But
Yeah.
Powwow 1414, who asked the question, also commented, I feel so seen and heard. I'm a 6-2 generator, emotional authority. Absolutely love this profile line party. So thank you, Powwow.
Tom, is this ringing true for you about the big picture and the worries around it? How do you feel?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Like, I think especially like being on the roof phase, it's like before I was really invested in smaller picture things and bumping into things like we were talking about earlier. Now it's like really seeing out into the future and really planning, and like not really interested in anything, like I said before, anything that's like small things, small business. It seems very trivial. Like, I'm very much on the roof and as a projector seeing the other. So it's kind of like I'm just observing everybody. That's what it feels like. Yep.
Fantastic. Continuing on, comfort in routines. Now is that one, Tressa, you were asking about.
Yeah, I have bingo, by the way.
Oh, fantastic. I knew it was going to come